The longitudinal effects of screen time on myopia prevalence over time. Video by Julie Song. Technological impacts on our society have completely altered the way that people operate. Changes in technology can be traced throughout history and have all had long-lasting impacts on the world as we know it today. These technological advances have started to revolutionize the way that people work, travel, communicate, learn, and more. The invention of the cell phone in 1983 by Motorola was no different. While Alexander Graham Bell is still credited with the first invention of the telephone, it was Michael Douglas that took the idea of the telephone and created a world where people can communicate at any time and anywhere. Instead of calling a place, callers were now calling specific people. While the cell phone created many advantages for global communication and trade, it still has some potentially negative implications on lifestyles that cannot be ignored. Myopia occurs when images produced by the visual system for objects in the distance focuses in front of the retina instead of on the retina. There are multiple types. Axial myopia occurs when the eye is longer than the average length. Refractive or curvature myopia occurs when the refractive elements of the eye are more refractive than average. The far point of the eye is the distance where the image is most sharply focused and is also used to calculate the extent of myopia. Concave spherical lenses are used to push the image form to the back of the retina. While the causes of myopia are still unknown, research has pointed to 3 potential factors that might influence the prevalence of myopia. Genetic factors, developmental factors, and environmental factors may all play a role in the prevalence of myopia. Currently, myopia has been estimated to cost $202 billion each year and is the second leading cause of blindness worldwide. Increased myopia has serious implications for the access and cost of healthcare, as well as the quality of life for people all over the globe. In a recent study done to examine the trends of myopia over time from 2000 to 2050, the researchers estimated that the increase in myopia would rise from 22.9% of the world population to 49.8% of the world population by 2050 after performing meta-analysis and systematic review. The data that the researchers collected suggests that the number of people with myopia will change and spread across a much larger age range by 2050 than in 2000, where most of the population is found between the ages of 10 and 39. These rapid changes are accompanied by suggestions that lifestyle changes over the past few years, including increased near-work activity, decreased time spent outdoors, high-pressure educational systems, excessive use of near-electronic devices, light levels, and diet could be impacting these projected increases in myopia. Relatively recently, the buzz about blue light affecting eye health and vision has caused more people to question the effects of prolonged screen time and encourage companies to devise plans on reducing the amount of blue light emitted in their products. A study done in 1978 became one of the early research groups to link the effects of different wavelengths of light on changes in eye health and vision over time. In a study done on children aged 7 to 9-year-olds in Singapore, the researchers examined the possible environmental and lifestyle factors that could affect increased refractive errors in children. The predominant associations between near-work activities and myopia emerged in the group of children that had higher myopia, and especially for children that read a median of 2 books per week. The study found multiple risk factors that played a part in increased myopia, such as high family income, more advanced parental education, and larger housing that are more likely associated with higher socioeconomic status. Children who attended extra tuition classes outside of school and who used the computer regularly both had twice the rate of myopia than children who did not. Over the last few years, cell phone use has also risen to new heights. According to a study done by the Pew Research Center, around 95% of all Americans own some type of cell phone. Smartphone usage has also increased to 77% in 5 years. In 2016, the Nielsen Company found that Americans typically spend 10 hours and 39 minutes per day using smartphones, television, tablets, computers, video games, and radio. In another study, researchers examined how duration of television watching, computer use, and cell phone use affected the prevalence of myopia in various groups of medical students. The study found that the higher myopia prevalence was found among students that engaged in increased screen time. While this is still not a conclusive connection that screen time is a causative agent of myopia, this still suggests that there could be a potential connection between the two, since age and time of life that the researchers observed was not during developmental stages. There have also been studies done on the effects of increased outdoor activities on myopia. In one study, researchers examined the effects of near-work activities, mid-working distance activities, and outdoor activities on school children. The study found that combinations of low levels of outdoor activity and high levels of near work resulted in the most myopic mean spherical equivalent refractive error. Conversely, combinations of high levels of outdoor activity and low levels of near work correlated with the most hyperopic mean spherical equivalent refractive error. While there was not conclusive evidence in this study that near-work activities significantly increased myopia, the study did find that increased levels of outdoor activities were significantly correlated with a more hyperopic mean spherical equivalent refractive error. Researchers of the study discussed a possible explanation for these findings. The only viable explanation would be that light intensity differences between indoor and outdoor activities are what impacts the differences in spherical equivalent refractive error. Because the light intensities outside are typically higher than inside, pupils are more likely to be constricted while outside and result in less image blur and greater depth of field. Findings from this study support the idea that there is something about being outdoors and spending more time away from near work that has an effect on possible decreases in myopia incidence. Myopia and higher myopia rates have generally been found to be much higher in Asian countries where rigorous educational systems require more schooling and tutoring. Due to the increase in computer use associated with most jobs, problems associated with vision health and discomfort have started to emerge. Visual display terminal users have reported many different symptoms associated with their increased use of computers, including blurred vision, slowness of focus change, double vision, and presbyopia. Further, issues with accommodation have also emerged with increased visual display terminal usage due to slowness of focus change and computer vision syndrome. Because there is an increase in accommodative effort during near-computer work, it has been postulated that this could potentially be a causative agent in the development of myopia. While the literature is largely inconclusive when it comes to determining whether or not increased cell phone screen time has a causative link to myopia progression over time, there have still been some studies that suggest a possible link between the two. The involvement of near-work activity and decreased time spent outside seem to have possible correlations with increased amounts of refractive errors. Because myopia and other refractive errors cost the healthcare system so much every year, the research into finding preventative health measures could prove to be beneficial to many people across the globe. As technology continues to grow, hopefully screens can become more clear and capable of adjusting to different visual needs. While there is still disagreement between researchers as to the cause and prevention of myopia, its importance is nowhere near diminishing. The necessity of annual eye examinations early on and into the future to begin to treat myopia and other ocular diseases is all the more important. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to Shane Carr for the wonderful background music.